tapes are back. The demon is still watching. This time, the children aren't just victims. They're part of the ritual. Welcome to Sinister 2, where evil grows stronger the younger you are. The story of Sinister 2 picks up directly after the tragic ending of the first film. The male protagonist's entire family has been brutally murdered, and the youngest daughter is taken away by the ancient evil god Bugle. In the aftermath, the police officer who once helped the protagonist is immediately placed under suspicion and listed as the prime suspect in the family's massacre. Although he is eventually cleared of all charges, the case costs him his career, and he is forced to leave the police force due to his connection with the Oswald family, unable to let the case go. The former deputy continues investigating on his own. As he digs deeper, he uncovers a horrifying truth. The Oswald family tragedy is only one of many similar massacres scattered across the country. In every case, an entire family is wiped out under nearly identical circumstances. Determined to stop Bugle from continuing his reign of terror, the deputy seeks help from a priest, hoping for a way to fight the evil god. Unfortunately, even the priest admits defeat. He warns the deputy that some forces are beyond human control and advises him to stay as far away from such evil as possible. If he cannot save others, at least he should save himself. Despite this warning, the deputy shows unwavering determination to confront Bugle at any cost. Through careful investigation, he identifies a chilling pattern shared by all the victims. Every family had lived in a house where a previous family had been slaughtered. Within 3 days of moving into such a place, a new tragedy would occur, and the youngest child would be taken by an evil spirit to have their soul devoured. Acting on this knowledge, the deputy immediately burns down the Oswald house. Successfully halting the spread of the curse at that location, he then turns his attention to another haunted house, the site of a fatal family incident linked to a church. However, to his shock, the house is no longer abandoned. A woman named Courtney is already living there with her 2 sons, the elder Zach and the younger Dylan. Courtney fled her previous life after divorcing her abusive husband, who continues to hunt her down in an attempt to regain custody of the children. One day, while shopping at a supermarket, Courtney notices a suspicious man secretly taking photos of her family. Believing him to be hired by her ex-husband, she panics and escapes with her children. The house they move into once belonged to a friend's relatives who were murdered, leaving it vacant. Shortly after settling in, Dylan begins experiencing terrifying nightmares. In his dreams, 3 people are tied to a cross and burned alive. Each time he wakes up, he sees Bugle's shadowy figure and his brother Zach's distorted, horrifying face lurking inside the closet. Mature beyond his years, Dylan hides these nightmares from his mother, understanding the fragile situation they are already in, unbeknownst to Courtney. The family of 4 who once lived in the house was murdered in the nearby church. One evening, Dylan calls his mother for dinner and freezes in fear. Witnessing blood gushing violently from the ground, though, Courtney sees nothing. Later, Zach confides that Dylan has been acting strangely. Courtney dismisses this as stress caused by their difficult circumstances. In truth, Dylan has made a new friend named Milo. Every night, Milo lures him into the basement to watch disturbing home videos, claiming they will cure Dylan's nightmares. He strictly warns Dylan never to tell his mother. The first tape, filmed in a church, shows a family tied down with metal containers on their bodies, rats trapped inside, and burning charcoal placed above them, forcing the animals to claw through human flesh. The next tape depicts a family being used as bait to attract crocodiles during a fishing trip. Dylan is deeply traumatized, but powerless to resist Milo's control. Eventually, the deputy tracks the curse to this very house. Mistaken for one of Courtney's pursuers, he is met with hostility. Though he explains he is investigating a murder, he withholds the full truth, only asking if she has seen strange symbols around the house. Courtney denies noticing anything, but agrees to let him investigate further, unaware that evil has already taken root inside her home. By the time the deputy realized something was wrong, it was already too late. Fear crept into his mind, and he lacked the courage to continue wandering through the crime scene at night. Choosing caution over recklessness, he decided to return the following day. That night, he checked into a small motel in town. While researching Courtney and her abusive husband on his laptop, disturbing news reports began flooding the screen, one family massacre after another, appearing relentlessly. The number of similar cases kept increasing, until suddenly the computer froze and shut down without warning. As he bent down to inspect the power supply, the dark reflection of Bugle appeared on the screen. The evil god's figure slowly drew closer, radiating menace. Moments later, eerie totem markings filled the display, resembling both a warning and a direct threat, leaving the deputy shaken. That same night, Dylan was once again lured into the basement. This time, Milo introduced a new videotape filmed by a young girl. It was Christmas Eve. In the footage, the girl buried her entire family beneath the snow outside their home. By the next morning, their bodies were frozen solid like grotesque ice sculptures. After the tape ended, Milo insisted they continue watching, but to his surprise, Dylan firmly refused. He turned away and left the basement, resisting Milo for the first time. The next day, the deputy returned to the nearby church in search of clues. While investigating, a sharp metallic clanging sound echoed behind him, instantly drawing his attention. In the corridor, he discovered a basin-shaped metal container slowly moving on its own. Fearful, yet curious, he hesitated to approach. Using a piece of wood, he cautiously threw over it and discovered a mouse trapped beneath it. Relieved, he assumed it was a false alarm. However, just as he stepped closer to examine it, another strange noise echoed behind him. Turning around, he saw the silhouette of a child in the darkness. When he shone his flashlight, the figure vanished. As he moved the beam away, more shadows appeared. Convinced his nerves were playing tricks on him, he tried again, only for Bugle's terrifying face to appear directly in front of him. Startled, the deputy accidentally smashed through a wooden door, revealing mysterious symbols carved beneath its surface. Absorbed in studying the markings, he received a phone call from Professor Stromberg. The professor explained that Jonathan Scala, who had helped uncover Bugle's legend in the first film, had gone missing months earlier, leaving behind several strange items. Stromberg asked the deputy to come and examine them. As the deputy prepared to leave, he noticed Dylan sitting alone outside, lost in thought. He approached and struck up a conversation. Unexpectedly, the two connected easily and talked for a long time. Their moment was abruptly interrupted when Courtney's husband suddenly appeared at the door with two police officers, clearly intending to forcibly take the children away. Terrified, Dylan wet himself on the spot. As a former police officer, the deputy stepped in calmly and explained that a custody transfer required a court order and must be led by the local sheriff. Realizing they were outmatched, the men left in defeat. The crisis was temporarily resolved. Grateful, Courtney invited the deputy to stay for dinner, bringing the family an unfamiliar sense of safety. Afterward, Courtney and Dylan even invited him to stay the night. Unable to refuse, he agreed. Later that evening, while bored, the deputy continued researching old film reels and was shocked to spot Bugle's image hidden within a photograph. Courtney, unable to sleep, joined him in the courtyard, where they drank and talked about life, the past, and the future. Meanwhile, Milo once again attempted to lure Dylan into watching more tapes, but Dylan refused outright. Frustrated, Milo turned his attention to Zach, threatening to kill the entire family if he spoke to his mother. He then forced Zach to watch another tape, in which a boy drugged his family, tied them in a flooded kitchen, donned rubber shoes, and threw an electric cable into the water after drinking. Courtney and the deputy returned to their rooms, briefly drawn together before reason prevailed. The next morning, before leaving, the deputy warned Courtney never to destroy the house and promised to return. He then traveled to meet Professor Stromberg, who revealed that in the mid-1970s, radio enthusiasts had recorded a strange broadcast containing a girl's voice, reciting coordinates followed by a horrifying scream. The coordinates matched a family massacre from that era, in a home equipped with a radio transceiver. From this, they deduced that Bugle's curse could spread not only through images, but also through sound. With no time to lose, the deputy chose to focus on saving Courtney's family and had Stromberg destroy the radio equipment before leaving. That evening, Dylan was once again jolted awake by a terrifying nightmare. When he opened his eyes, he found himself inexplicably standing in the basement, as if fate itself had dragged him there. Milo and the other ghostly children surrounded him, pressuring him relentlessly to continue watching the videotapes. They warned that someone would be furious if he refused, though Dylan had no idea who they meant. When a little girl offered him another tape, Dylan shook his head firmly and said no, almost immediately. The ghost children began appearing throughout the house, at the stairs, in the hallway, behind doors, silently herding him back toward the basement. Terrified beyond reason, Dylan broke free and fled toward the nearby church. What he did not realize was that the evil god Bugle had already been waiting for him. Bugle pursued Dylan through the darkness, circling and terrifying him until disoriented and exhausted. The boy unknowingly ran back into the house and returned to the basement. There, Dylan discovered Milo and the other children watching a videotape with his older brother Zach. Unlike Dylan, Zach seemed to enjoy every second of it. He even mocked Dylan for being weak, calling him a coward and slapping him across the face. The following morning, Courtney's husband arrived at the door holding a court order, accompanied by the local sheriff. Although Courtney did not know what methods he had used, he had obtained all the necessary legal documents. To ensure her son's safety, Courtney had no choice but to comply and return with her children to her former home. That night, when the deputy returned, the farmhouse was already empty. He immediately understood the implication. Courtney's family had become Bugle's next target, and another family annihilation was inevitable within 3 days. He tried calling Courtney, but she was too afraid to answer. With no other option, the deputy drove to her house. Unfortunately, Courtney's husband mistook him for a trespasser and angrily drove him away, leaving the deputy powerless. That same evening, Milo handed Zach a camera and taught him how to use it. The next morning, the ghost children even helped him choose the perfect filming angle, as if seized by a twisted sense of conscience. Courtney's husband took the family on a picnic and patiently taught Dylan how to play golf. Meanwhile, Zach secretly set up the camera and served drinks that had been drugged. Dylan sensed something was wrong. Using his mother's phone in secret, he sent the deputy a desperate distress message. Night soon fell. Courtney, her husband, and Dylan were tied together in the middle of a cornfield, the ground soaked in gasoline. Zach watched proudly, clearly satisfied with his work. He lit the fuel and filmed as his father burned alive, laughing with excitement until the man finally stopped moving. At that moment, the deputy arrived near the house and saw thick smoke rising from the fields. Realizing the truth, he rushed forward just as Zach prepared to kill his mother. The deputy struck Zach with his car, knocking him down, then freed Courtney and Dylan and tried to escape with them. Furious, Milo urged Zach to finish filming. Zach chased them into the cornfield, wielding a scythe. Familiar with the terrain, he caught up and slashed off half of the deputy's hand. The chase continued back to the house, where the ghost children quickly tracked them down. The deputy was cornered in the study and knocked unconscious. Courtney and Dylan attempted to flee, but were trapped as doors slammed shut and objects began flying violently. Zach raised the scythe again until the deputy suddenly appeared and smashed the camera. Enraged, Zach ran to the attic for another one, only to find the box empty. The ghost children declared it was over. Bugle appeared instantly and claimed Zach's soul, pulling him into the videotape. Flames erupted, engulfing the house. The deputy led Courtney and Dylan to safety, escaping the inferno. With nowhere else to go, they stayed with him temporarily. While packing his things at the motel, the deputy discovered the professor's radio transceiver, suddenly crackling to life with the eerie voice of a little girl. The movie ends. In the end, Sinister 2 makes one thing painfully clear. Evil doesn't need strength, it needs influence. Bugle never kills with his own hands. Instead, he manipulates children, twists innocence, and turns fear into obedience. Zach's fate is the most chilling proof of that. The moment the camera is destroyed, his value to Bugle disappears, and he's discarded without mercy. the film closes on a grim reminder that escaping the house doesn't mean escaping the curse. Bugle survives through images, recordings, and even sound, suggesting that once you've seen or heard him, the door is never fully closed. While Sinister 2 leans more toward jump scares than psychological dread, its core idea remains disturbing. Sometimes the scariest monsters don't chase you. They teach you, and once the lesson is learned, there's no rewind.
If you find this video interesting, please give it a like, click on a subscribe button in order not to miss the incoming videos. Goodbye, and see you then.